of bundle, of bundle, and and mechanician, mech, it look like mechan, mechanicians or whatever that put politics ahead the of public health, usually for the modern CDC, an agency that began as a post-World War effort to eradicate, malaria in the United States, but now is in charge of investigating everything from car accidents to sports injuries to gun violence to teenage raping, despite having a budget that is 14 times larger than it was in the late 80s. Today, the CDC is less prepared than ever to address the its founding purpose, controlling disease and infections, and so on. When we look at this, we see there's this foolishness, and they need to do better. You know what I mean? Than that it was supposed to do than ever. You know what I mean? To address the founding purpose of controlling infectious disease. But I don't see how and what is going on with these people at all. Once the politicians, charged, learned, you know, charged, learned that they can gain influential and funding for pet issues by crouching them as important for American health. There is no end to what arena they will task that will task public health officials with asserting control over. The CDC was once a poster child of movement by many federal in many federal entitled starting, I guess, entities starting in the 70s towards the approach known as regulatory science, which aimed to create imperial standard for regulatory actions that would be evidence based and apolitical and therefore trustworthy and consistent. But none of these reform changed the underlying incentive of the CDC or other agencies or of their political oversight. The political choices implemented remains the same. Politicians want to look good to voters. Bureaucracy, depending on the politicians for the job, and so the bureaucracy will do what it takes to make politicians look good, no matter what. But it still does not amount for what we saw went on based with the CDC in any shape or form. You know what I'm saying? And we know who's running it based on a lot of people calling themselves philanthropists. You know what I'm saying? So we know that the CDC needs a lot of change, or they need to just get rid of it altogether. You know, we don't even want to, you could go into the whole situation here reading about it. Even when you look at the form objective of the data particularly favored the policy, maybe the political concern also ensured that the CDC structurally incentivized incentives, to be over conscious, making it its officials slow to act in a crisis and reluctant to look outside the agency for help. This is what led to the CDC greatest blunder, and that is true. At the beginning of the pandemic, when it banned academic privacy and non-for-profit laboratories from developing diagnostic testing, delaying their arrival by at least 2 months and leaving both government and private scientists blind to the spread of any type of virus. When the agency finally released its own test, it was poorly designed, and but we know why. We know why. We're not going to go into all anything talking about no conspiracy theory and disinformation. We know why that happened, and that's straight up point facts. You know what I'm saying? None of this was unpredictable. Even after the CDC got a chance to stress the test, it it its crisis response during the H1N1 or swine flu virus outbreak in 2009, it failed to address the non it fails to address non-shortage of the H1N1, H95 masks, and so on, and ventilators and other medical equipment. You know what I'm saying? So we know that it's just a matter of we need to move on from these people when it comes to this thing. We don't need to be sitting up here all day long talking about the same thing that we already know is a part of the garbage in which they are doing. Nobody's going to sit up here with that. You know what I'm saying? Let's just be 100%, on our square. Nobody's going to sit up here with that, you know, and it's really garbage. It's really garbage when we look at it. You know what I'm saying? It's really garbage. Because when you're speaking about the health and the wealth of the American people based on you saying this and saying that, it does not show well for what you are doing based on how you're going about doing it to say that you're doing something, because we know that something that you're based yourself doing on is based on you doing something to make something happen or do something within, you know what I'm saying, of the situation that you're pushing to do and put in. So we know what you're trying to put in and what was going on. We don't need no conspiracy, and we don't want to hear about no conspiracy theory. Get rid of that piece of garbage. You know what I'm saying? We know the